The PlayStation 2, one of the most influential gaming consoles of all time, hosts a great catalog of games to play, so today I want to talk about the top 10 best PS2 games that gained the most votes within the last poll. Please note that since a ton of different games were released for the PS2, your opinion is very likely different from mine, so let me know your favorites in the comments section, but without further ado, hello guys, my name is Hepodix and I hope you enjoy the video.
Hey, guess who's back?
Starting the list at number 10 spot, we have Need for Speed Carbon, developed by EA. This is no doubt my favorite NFS game from the franchise, as it features an excellent soundtrack, as the career mode serves as the main treat here with a lot of things to do, and there are also a ton of different cars and customizable options. NFS Carbon takes place within the fictional Palmon City, and the always night setting gives this game a great atmosphere to participate in these street races against the rival crews, and it has a lot of Tokyo Drift vibes all over it. If you enjoy some good racing action on the PS2, you can't go wrong by trying out Need for Speed Carbon, although this game was released on many other platforms too, but my personal experience was on the PS2 and it wasn't disappointing at all.
Nikki's good. Just listen to her. And I'll stick around and I'll help out and make sure she's not too hard on you. Hello, Sonny.
Tommy, it's been too long.
Moving to the 9th spot, we have Grand Theft Auto Vice City, developed by Rockstar North. It was hard to choose between this and GTA San Andreas, but I just enjoyed the overall presentation of Vice City more. I just think the fictional Vice City, heavily based on 1980s Miami, is an excellent location for a Grand Theft Auto game. You play as Tommy Vercetti, who participates in criminal activities to complete in different missions to proceed, as well as you have a ton of side missions you can deep dive in the game's open world. GTA Vice City also has pretty solid storyline to digest, and if you like any of the other GTA games in the franchise, you can't go wrong by playing this entry, as it still holds up today just fine.
Come on, get out of here, drive!
For the number 8 spot, we have Wipeout Fusion, a futuristic racing game developed by Studio Liverpool. To me, it feels like this entry in particular is somewhat underappreciated, but what you find beneath is a solid racing experience set in the year 2160, where players compete in the F9000 Anti-Gravity Racing League. On top of the solid, fast-paced gameplay, Wipeout Fusion also hosts a banger techno soundtrack that is just the cherry on top of the cake. If you enjoy the futuristic racing genre and games such as F-Zero, you can't go wrong by trying out Wipeout Fusion.
Rayman?
Next at number 7 spot, let's talk about Rayman Revolution, or Rayman 2 Revolution in North America, for the PS2, developed by Ubisoft. Again, it was really difficult to choose between this and Rayman 3 Hoodlum Havoc, but Revolution is just more nostalgic to me overall. Rayman Revolution is sort of a remake of the original Rayman 2. It features many enhancements such as upgrades to Rayman's abilities, level revisions, new musical scores, 3 new boss fights, as well as the new cool hub world that connects the levels together in a nice way. On top of that, you have your amazing 3D Rayman experience as you go through different levels with a lot of variety, obtain new upgrades along the way, engage in many encounters against the robo-pirates, collect lums, and quite honestly, Rayman Revolution is a solid platformer if the genre is to your liking.
Whoa!
For the number 6 spot, we have the original Kingdom Hearts for the PS2, and again, a tough choice between this and its sequel Kingdom Hearts 2, but the original stands out for me with its overall presentation. It's a collaboration title between Square and Disney that has the Final Fantasy vibes mixed with RPG elements and action hack and slash combat system combined, as well as plenty of Disney characters put into the mix, such as Hercules, Tarzan, Mickey and many more. You take the control of Sora, who is later accompanied by Donald and Goofy, to travel across different Disney and Square themed worlds in order to solve different conflicts and events happening, as well as tackle on the main threat known as the Heartless that acts as the evil faction of this game. If you enjoy adventure games and feel like exploring different realms and take on a bunch of bad guys while at it, Kingdom Hearts 1 and the series as a whole is a really solid option.
When I woke up in the hospital earlier tonight, I thought it couldn't get any worse.
At number 5 spot, we have Max Payne 2, The Fall of Max Payne, an amazing sequel to Remedy's first Max Payne game, as I also talked about this in my top 10 best Finnish games video. It's a third-person shooter featuring Max Payne as the protagonist, as the events take place 2 years after the first game, as Max reinstates his old job as a police detective for the NIPD. The plot is really sinister and dark, as you mow down bad guys along as the story unfolds, and you even get to play as Mona, who is an important part of the story that adds to the variety. The combat is really satisfying as you get a big arsenal of weaponry to choose from, and the iconic bullet time used in tough situations makes it more epic for sure. If you enjoy good storytelling with a dark setting and good gunplay, Max Payne 2 is a good option to choose from.
You are not even trying!
For the number 4 spot, we have another game that is way too underappreciated, as I'm talking about Namco's Klonoa 2, Lunatea's Veil, that I also mentioned in my top 10 most underrated games video. This game is just an apex of the platformer genre, as you take control of Klonoa, who travels across platforming stages, as well as board riding stages that adds to the variety. The main gimmick Klonoa uses is his wind bullet ability, so when you shoot an enemy you can do either a double jump or use the enemy as an attack, which is important to get used to, as the game provides a lot of situations where this is needed in order to proceed. The visuals are also pretty with its cel-shaded style, and there are a lot of levels and gameplay overall to digest here. The story isn't the most in-depth in the world, but this game is about the gameplay after all. If you are a fan of the platformer adventure games, you're honestly missing out if you have not played Klonoa 2 Lunatea's Veil.
We're still pretty busy, but in a more, domestic sense.
Taking the number 3 spot, we have the Insomniac Games' second installment of the Ratchet & Clank series, known as the Going Commando or Locked and Load, depending on the country it was released in. While I also like the first and third entry from this trilogy, I think the second entry has best execution overall. The gameplay takes place in different planets, as along the way you gain new weapons, upgrades and gadgets, and the overall balance between exploration and combat is pretty nice actually. The story is also quite interesting, with surprising turn of events along the way. That's also a plus in my book. But the series' stable feature, the combat, and the ability to purchase new weapons and upgrade them is what makes this game super satisfying to play, and this is the reason there are even these specific arenas just to battle waves of enemies to gain prizes, just to enjoy the good battle system.
Winner of the Gladiator Games, this guy!
For those who loves exploration, good story and weapon-based third-person action, Ratchet & Clank 2 is a solid entry in the franchise.
Is it dangerous?
No. Actually, yes it is.
Good.
You see, they envy the living. And in time, that envy turns to anger, even hate.
Taking the second spot, we have Final Fantasy X, developed by Squaresoft, that is one of the best games in the JRPG genre in my opinion. The story is about a group of adventurers such as Tidus, Waka and Auron, and their quest to defeat a monster known as Sin. The gameplay is a solid Final Fantasy experience as you travel to different areas of Spira, explore new areas, proceed with the great story, and of course participate on numerous turn-based battles to grow your party stronger, gain new equipment and so on. The leveling system takes on this huge board known as the sphere grid, which I've found super enjoyable as you can take on different paths and tinker your character's stats just the way you like. There are also a ton of side quests and activities to do outside the main story, such as Blitzball, which is a little weird by concept but is executed very well and is quite fun actually. Sure, okay, the game is known for some of its infamous voice acting, but it's still an amazing game no doubt, trust me. So all in all, for all the JRPG fans out there, Final Fantasy X in my opinion is a must-play entry in the genre.
It all begins here.
For the number 1 spot, I want to talk about Dark Cloud, a game that I still love to this day and is nowhere near as appreciated as it should be. This hidden gem, developed by Level 5, is a masterclass in the action role-playing genre. The protagonist, Toan, is on a journey where he finds more allies, band together to fight against the Dark Genie, who has attacked and destroyed many villages. The gameplay is divided between two concepts, conquering dungeons as well as rebuilding the cities the aforementioned Dark Genie had destroyed. Dark Cloud is played from a third-person perspective as you move through procedurally generated dungeons, while battling monsters, gaining loot and spheres called Atla that are used to rebuild the villages and areas back outside the dungeons. Instead of gaining your typical character levels, you gain items and accessories to boost your normal stats, as well as upgrade your weapons, which is an interesting change of design from your typical RPG games. And every time you do find a new weapon or have enough levels to power up the one you're using, it's super satisfying to get that power spike you needed. Overall, Dark Cloud has a lot to offer and it's hard to condense all of the information here, but if you're a fan of the action role-playing games and want something unique to try, I can highly recommend this game for you. Alright, so that concludes the top 10 best PS2 games list. I know I missed a ton of classics like Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3, Ico, Shadow of the Colossus and plenty of others, but you can't fit all of them to a list of 10, and that's why there is the comment section so you can tell what are your favorite games for the PS2, because I'm very curious to know your favorite picks. If you enjoyed this video, leaving a like helps a lot, and if you want to see more gaming related videos such as this, subscribe and hit the notification bell for future uploads. Thank you so much for watching, my name is Hepodix and have a nice day. Or you can just call me Hepo, that's fine too.